Hi everybody, we're here at the Pittsburgh UserCon 2019. You can see the Penguins logo back there. And we are doing basically a feature on current vExperts, past vExperts, future vExperts, and we're talking about how they got started in IT, but also what their impact in the community is and what they're trying to achieve. So today I have David Stevens. David, I think you work with HyTrust. Could you introduce yourself?
I do, yeah. Dave Stevens, worked for HyTrust long time before I went to the dark side, as some of my old coworkers would say. I worked in public higher ed universities for quite some time.
And your relationship to, I know you live in Maine right now.
I live in New Hampshire.
New Hampshire, sorry.
But I grew up, born and bred in Pittsburgh for many, many years. Left Pittsburgh back in 2011 to go work in New Hampshire. So I still love coming back here. That's mainly why I'm back here today. It's good to come back, hang out with folks that I've seen and grew up with, and then meet people and that I have not met yet. And heck, if I hadn't come back for an event, I wouldn't have met you, other than the connection we have online.
Yeah, on Twitter.
So yeah.
So you didn't say your role though in HyTrust.
Oh no. So yeah, good point. So at HyTrust, I have a whole new role this year. It's a mouthful, so be prepared. Chief Solutions Evangelist and Architect. Prior to that, I was just a solutions architect or a systems engineer. My role has changed this year to really promote what it is we're doing at HyTrust. And not only what we're doing at HyTrust, but how we're trying to help grow and educate folks coming forward in the container space.
Yeah, nice.
And securing that environment as well.
You have actually two titles that may seem, I mean, it's a great job.
Yeah.
Solutions Architect, which means you're technical.
Yep.
But Evangelist as well. Means you're out there talking to people.
I am, yeah.
So how do you go from being born in Pittsburgh, tell me how you got started in IT and how you got to that amazing role you have now.
So, I'm not spring chicken anymore. I know I'm considerably older than you and some of the folks that are here at the show. There are some in my same age range. But I really cut my teeth as going to school. And back then when I went to school, there was no IT degree that you could get. Right. You were going to become a computer scientist if you wanted to do computers. When I was growing up, I was like, I like this consultant role. This sounds really cool. They get to go out and meet people and work with folks. And that's kind of really how I got into this.
Your first job was an IT consultant?
No, not as an IT consultant. It was as a work study. I went to Penn State and middle of the state here, pretty much the exact center of the state, and became a work study student working in central IT in the organization, and was just playing with these massive, what they called portable computers back then, which was nowadays would be the equivalent of a refrigerator that you sit on a table. There was no way you could put it on your laptop yet. And just cut my teeth there and learned as much as I could just doing general IT things. I would work as a work study and just fix things that broke. I didn't really know what I was doing. It just kind of came to me, and there was just no way of figuring that out by going to classes. So just cut my teeth there, eventually got a role as a full-time gig working for the CIO's office in Old Main, and managed several different organizations and offices there. And then from there moved up to a consultant role. So I then ended up getting that consultant role after all, leaving higher ed, and then I came back to Pittsburgh and started working for another university, Carnegie Mellon University, where I got the opportunity to further my education, not only on the Microsoft side, but on backups and storage. So I've done a whole plethora of things in my career, and it's really how I've learned everything I know today.
Okay.
And then basically left the customer side of the whole industry and came over to the vendor side, because as a customer I enjoyed being able to help folks, which is why I was a little IT geek and was doing basic day-to-day operations of what's going on and what's breaking. But I really wanted to learn and get the word out for how to help people further their knowledge as well.
great segue into what I was going to ask. Back then, there wasn't as much internet as there was today. Could you tell me your experience with user groups growing up?
Yeah, user groups, they didn't really exist. I mean, the internet, to be honest with you, didn't really exist. There was this thing called BitNet. It was the way the universities connected, which came out of the DARPANet and all that stuff. And the World Wide Web didn't exist either. The World Wide Web didn't start till basically around the early 90s, if I recall correctly. My brain's a little fuzzy back then, but I remember playing with the very first web browser. I actually had to know the physical address, the DNS address to get there. You couldn't bebop around from site to site. Those connections just weren't there. People weren't on the web. So you really had to go into little channels that had some information in them and try and grok what was going on inside there. You couldn't go online and look it up. You had to find books if there were, and frankly, there weren't a lot of books around IT just because it wasn't really a discipline. You got a computer science degree and you figured out how to roll that into whatever the company was doing back then.
Cool. But I've seen that now you are a very active VMUG participant.
Yeah.
Not only sponsoring, but also like attending, and I think I've seen you at BTOG events as well.
Yes.
So
Yep.
tell me about that experience now. Like what is community to you now?
Yeah, so community to me now is one, obviously evangelizing what I do at HyTrust and how we're trying to help customers utilize our own products to help secure and enable them in their organizations. But I really go back to my roots. I always wanted to help people become more successful or more efficient at doing their job. So as an IT guy, you had a problem, someone had a problem with Word, you knew how to make Word work, so you helped that individual. It could have been just a general admin. So I want to build off of that, and I like being able to go out, so being an evangelist at HyTrust really enables me to just talk about how to share information and how to enable other folks as they come up. I'm not going to be able to do this the rest of my life, so I want to make sure that other folks out there in the community, whether it's the vCommunity or some other community in IT, I want to be able to help them come up and learn a little bit more efficiently than the way I had to learn.
Yes, of course. Did you ever participate in the vExpert program?
Never. So I just became a vExpert March, I guess, is when they announced those. So yeah, this is my very first time. It's not that I didn't know about vExpert. Back then, my role was not really around VMware and virtualization, so I didn't really go for it. I'm not a big, try to get all these certifications, and granted, vExpert's not a certification, but I just kind of always stayed in the background, except when I was physically helping a customer to get something done. But now being part of the vExpert program, it's amazing the amount of information and individuals behind the whole program. Once you get involved in it, just really elevates your knowledge to the next level. It's
1,800 guys who are all willing to share what they know.
Oh, and we got some gals in there too. Don't forget them.
Yeah, sorry.
So yeah, 1,800 people, and it's just amazing. If you get into the Slack, once you become a vExpert, you can get connected to the Slack channel. It's amazing the amount of information that's out there.
And the networking is a big part of it. Like knowing, this person knows about this. Let me go ask him this question I have.
Yeah, and honestly, I believe knowledge is key to growing up and learning how to get things done. But networking is really where you need to get to. I was talking about this last night with Matt Putoff. Yeah. And it's not really. It is about what you know, but it's more about who you know, because combining those two together is going to get you further in your career than just having a great network or knowing a bunch of information.
It's always an and game. You have to do whatever you are doing and keep adding.
That's right.
All right. Well, let's finish with some statement that you want to do, and a shout out to your family. Yeah,
so what I'm looking forward to do is to continue further. I don't do a lot of blogging on my own. I have a personal blog. It's really kind of pointless.
What's the blog?
It's really it's
What's
deep-
that URL?
It's deep.org. Right now, it's mainly around me putting out pictures and what I do on vacation. I have a hobby in photography, but I'm not a great photographer. But I don't mix a lot of technology stuff along with my personal information.
I've seen stuff you publish maybe in your company's blog.
I do, yeah. So I do blog on the company blog. That's really mainly where I put stuff out there today.
And what's that?
And so that is HyTrust.com/blog.
Okay.
And so there you'll not only see things about what we're promoting at HyTrust, but how we're actually trying to empower people using products in the VMware space.
So you want to get back to blogging at a personal level?
I do. That's something I need to do in the next year, is really probably carve off onto a new blog, just dedicated IT stuff, and leave the photography stuff separated.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
So that's what I'll probably end up doing in the coming year. And definitely looking forward to VMworld coming up this year. There's great new technologies out there. Containers and Kubernetes is just exploding. If we all thought back then VMs exploded like rabbits having babies, containers are one level above that.
Yeah.
They have the capability becoming proliferating faster than VMs did back then.
It's one thing that you've probably seen a lot is we only get bigger. Like IT as an industry, as we get more storage, more interconnected, more people in, we only get bigger.
Oh yeah, definitely.
All right, what's your Twitter? You haven't mentioned that.
So it goes back to my roots at Penn State, so I'm PSU Stevens. I've been doing more tweeting lately than I have in the past. It's not always something that I'm able to stay up on throughout the day, but I usually try to catch up in the evening. I think I see you doing a lot of stuff in the evening as well. Trying to continue with my normal day job.
You have to let it go for a little bit. Focus and then come back to it.
Yeah. But it's great being here at the Pittsburgh UserCon this week. There's a lot of good stuff and a lot of good networking going on and a lot of good information being shared amongst everybody.
All right. Shout out to the wife.
All right. Shout out to my wife. If it wasn't for her, she keeps me grounded, make sure that I'm actually not working more than I should be doing. And I think your wife probably does the same thing. And so it's because of them, I think we're able to do what we're able to do.
Exactly. Well, thank you so much, Dave.
Hey, thanks a lot, Errol.